Can you guys see that screen?
We can.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
These are our new slides, which I love. They've got a little bit of an 80s vibe to them.
I really like the first one I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Have an 80s vibe.
Just one more minute. Here we go. All right, so we're at 9:30. Do you guys want to get started, or do you want to give it just another minute or two for people to jump on here?
You know what? The first is just an intro anyway. So we'll just get started if that's okay with you. And if they miss that, they won't miss much.
Okay, perfect.
So, hello, everybody. I'm Lesley Peters.
I'm Andy Peters.
And we're so excited to be with you guys. Today, we are here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we are going to talk about how you can market your way to $1 million business.
Nice.
How are we going to do that?
MREA.
MREA, yeah. Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Love it. Yeah, this is usually a 3-hour class that we do. We travel the country and teach this class. At least we did pre-COVID. In fact, 2019, we were on the road 72 days teaching in 36 different cities. And this is a passion point for us. We've had the pleasure of working with Gary on 33 and 36 Touch, working with Jay Papazan. These are all kind of fundamental things for an MREA agent. And we've seen that model change a little bit. So you'll see some of the MREA 2 stuff as well come up today.
So we're going to focus this next hour and a half on how to create a 36 touch plan for your database. And we'll talk about exactly what that means. There's one thing that you're probably going to hear us say interchangeably, and that's 36 or 33 touches, which Andy just alluded to. And the reason is because in the first Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, I guess the only one we currently have, it was 33 touches. Yet we found out several years ago that the new MREA material is showing that it takes 36 touches a year for your database. So we went ahead and adapted that. So when you hear us say 33, 36 interchangeably, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. So who in the world are we, Andy? We are a team of 14 out of Atlanta, and we did 100 million in volume last year, about 220 transactions. We've been MREA agents since 2013. That was the first year we grossed $1 million with 4 people on our team, and in 2018 was the first year we netted $1 million. So I think we've already hit that this year. Actually, MREA. This month we should have hit. Absolutely. I think we've already hit MREA this year. So we are coaches and trainers as well as agents. And we may just have to take this off. The #1 group in the Southeast region.
2018, that was like an eternity ago.
It was. And it was our best year ever when we netted $1 million, and we have not returned to that. And we'll talk a little bit about why. We've had some other things going on, like teaching across the country. And Andy here is operating partner of 3 Keller Williams offices here in the Atlanta area. And then we also are investors in my hometown and did a launch a couple of years ago in Dothan, Alabama. So that's been fun. We've been members of Gary's Top Agent Mastermind Group since 2015, and we believe in coaching.
Yeah, we've got 3 coaches. Gene Rivers came into our world in 2014. He's been on our payroll for a long time, 7 years now, and helps us not only in business, production business and market center business, but building net worth and through investment properties and whatnot. So Gene is a vital part of what we do. We also have 2 MAPS coaches, Craig Zuber, who is a head MAPS coach, and also Nicole. Is she a head coach?
She is a head coach.
Yeah, she's
so Nicole
amazing.
Zuber, his wife, is our operations coach, which is kind of fun.
Yep.
So we get the husband and wife thing going on again, which we tend to like.
Yeah,
it's fun.
That works well for us.
And Gene obviously is married to Rebecca, his business partner. So we just all around, it's husband wives around here. So Andy, I am the biggest nerd ever. And
no, I'm not agreeing to that.
You're not. I really think I'm nerdy.
I'm not going to agree to that.
Okay, he's probably agreeing.
Yeah, I don't think you're a nerd.
Down DB agrees. I love when they flash the stats every year at Mega Camp and Family Reunion. It's probably my favorite part when Gary and Jay are on stage and they bring in the economists for Keller Williams and they really talk about the market. This is the latest National Association of Realtors stat, though, that I think is so important for us to kind of dig deep on. It says, according to the National Association of Realtors, 90% of your buyers and sellers say that they would use you again, and only 12% actually do. It's pretty bad.
And you know the reason why they don't?
Because they can't remember your name.
They can't remember your name, people. Like,
crazy.
I mean, that is hard to imagine for like us high I salespeople that somebody couldn't remember your name.
Right. I mean, we think about all the times we're in the car with our buyers and we're showing them property and we're missing our kids' soccer game or we're missing our family being in town. And how could they ever forget my name? Well, they do, because we don't stay in touch with them. And the one thing about agents that drives me crazy is the transactional agent, the agent that's like, I'm going to get them under contract, sell them, and then I'm on to the next person. That's not how we should do business. We should build clients for life and stay in touch and in relationship with our clients even after they close. So we're going to talk about how we do that at a really high level at the Peters Company so we can avoid this staggering statistic.
All right, so let's take a look at some database management and conversions, really. This is straight out of MREA. MRE tells us that there are 2 different kinds of people in databases, right? There's METs. These are people that you know their name. You have some sort of relationship with them. And then there are unmets, complete strangers. And so we're actually not going to spend a lot of time on unmets, but we want to show you why we're not. When you look at these conversion rates, for every 12 people that you know that you're marketing to, you can reasonably expect to receive 2 transactions. Now, the reason why it's 2 and it's not like a 6-to-1 ratio is because out of those 12 people you're marketing to, one of them is going to do business with you and one of them is going to refer you. So 12, that idea of 12 people marketed to correctly, and in this case, correctly would be marketing to 33 times or more, you can reasonably expect to get 2 deals. Now, the flip side of this, on the unmets, and we think of unmets, by the way, we're thinking about internet leads. This might be a geographical farm that's brand new that you don't know people. This is a little bit tougher sledding, right? It's going to require a little bit more intentionality, and it's probably going to require a little bit of luck because you haven't met these people, right? I don't really love necessarily relying on luck, but the statistics in MREA for a 12 direct suggest for every 50 people you market to, you could reasonably expect 1 deal. Now, have you found that to be true?
Not true anymore. So we actually were on the phone doing some research with Garrett Linderman. He's the head researcher for the new MREA book. And we were on the phone with him several years ago talking about our 36 touch and our MET database. And at the end of the call, I said, Garrett, I have a question. We have been marketing not 12 times a year, not mailing every month. We have been mailing every 3 weeks to a 1,500 person farm for 2 years, and we are not seeing a 1 to 50 return. What are you finding in your research? Is that number declining? And he said, absolutely. You guys got to remember when MREA was originally written, there was no Zillow, right? There weren't inbound internet leads. That wasn't a thing. So our business has completely changed in terms of unmets. So what we know based on our numbers and tracking, it's really
It's
a
about
lot
double
less.
that. It's about double this, about 100 to 1.
Yeah, so the ratio is really about 1 to 100 that you market to. And it's not 12 times a year, it's a lot more. So, how I kind of relate this is we have an inside sales agent and we do receive inbound internet leads. I know that our inbound sales agent, he has to call these leads 6 times to success. 6 times in the first couple of days just to get an appointment. So we're seeing about a 3 to 100 return on unmet. So the question is, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
I want to do business with people that know me, like me, and trust me.
Absolutely.
It's easier.
Yeah. So we're going to tend to stay on that left-hand side. The next slide, though, this is actually going to break it down and look at some numbers for us. So if we took 100 Met in our database and we agreed we're going to market to them 33 times based upon the statistics that we learned on the previous slide, we can reasonably expect about 17 transactions just from 100 people, right? Just from 100 people. And look how this thing starts scaling. At 500 Mets, you're looking at 83 closings. At 1,000 Mets, you're looking at 166 closings. Now, for pretty much every market in the country, 166 closings is an MREA business, right? So we always like to say this is truly a race to 1,000 Mets, and you've got to create a plan that will love on and drip on and touch those people in that database. You do that well, you can't help but have success.
So let's talk about these numbers a little bit because I am constantly interviewing agents to join our team. And one of my favorite questions is, how many people are in your Met database? And more often than not, I hear the same number. I'll say, how many people are in your database? Oh, 100. 100. Because everyone immediately goes to their wedding list. And then my follow-up question is, oh, 100, great. So how many friends do you have on Facebook? How many followers do you have on Instagram? Oh, 1,500? Well, there is a huge disconnect, right? So you have 1,500 Facebook friends and you only have 100 people in your Met database. Our biggest mistake as agents is not marketing to everyone we know. Because we all know that sometimes your best friends are not even going to use you. And yet, that acquaintance that you pass in the grocery store and just know by name, they may be the ones that refer you the most business. So, my rule of thumb is if I know you and I pass you in the grocery store and I know your name, then you should be in my database. So, your first homework assignment today. You didn't know you were going to have homework, did you? So your first homework assignment today is pull up Command, pull up your CRM, and pull up Instagram or Facebook right next to it and cross-check, because what I think you'll find is that you could add probably 50 people just today to your database that you're currently not marketing to.
Yeah. And by the way, if you add 25 and you're taking bold, you get to remove a foul. I know that because I'm going through bold right now.
Yes.
And a lot of people too, one side note on this, when you ask people how much money do they want to make when they just get into real estate, the most common answer is $100,000, right? Well, at 16.6, roughly 17 transactions, if you do the math on most markets within the U.S., that is a $100,000 business, right? So if $1 million business is just too big thinking for you right now, that's okay. Just drop a zero, right? We can do that.
Okay, let's quickly look at the unmet side, which we didn't really talk about because These numbers we feel like are completely inaccurate, but let's go down to the bottom. 1,000 unmets in a database. It says 20 closings a year. I want you to think 10. So you market to 1,000 people that you don't know. The best you're probably going to do is about 10 closings, unless you can turn those unmets into mets. And that's where the game really changes.
Yep. Stop us if you guys have some questions.
Yeah, put them in the chat box, although I can't really monitor chat with this screen share option. So maybe if you have a question, put it in chat, and at the end, we'll come back. We'll unshare our screen, and we'll answer all your questions. Okay, so let's talk about the history of the Peters Company. And I think this is actually important. I'm sure we have new agents on this call today, right? Okay, great. I was a new agent too. So was Andy. I got into business back in 2006. I was a full-time teacher. I taught first grade and decided I was going to jump into real estate. And I still had a full-time job. So I was a part-time real estate agent. And Andy said, don't quit your day job until you find out if you really like it. Well, my first year, I had a baby, and it was my part-time, I guess, side hustle. And I actually did 12 transactions, which made more money for me than I made in a full year teaching. So I ditched the teaching job and went into real estate full-time in 2007. Now I say full-time. Andy was traveling Tuesday to Friday every single week. He was a vice president of sales for a national company. So he was on the road Tuesday to Friday. I had a new baby, no family in town, and a 2-day-a-week childcare situation. So not really completely full-time, yet I doubled my transaction count and went up to about 23 units. The next year, 2008, was about the same, 25 units. Well, what I want you guys to hear here is that when you get to the same number of units and you can't break through that ceiling, you're typically missing something. I mean, you're typically not missing something. You're missing someone, okay? So I really want you guys to think about that. In 2008, I was definitely missing someone. That someone could have been a nanny, which would have allowed me to take our business to the next level, or it could have been an executive assistant, but I really wanted Andy. So in 2008, after 6 months of crying and begging, Andy joined me in the business.
2008 seemed like a great time to get into real estate.
Yes, it did, right? Yeah. So one thing we should talk about, the years between 2006 and 2008, I was a teacher, didn't have a lot of money, but there's one thing that I did that I think set up our marketing plan for the rest of our years. We're still living those years, yes, but it set us up in the beginning. And it was 12 touches a year. So I did one mailer a month. I just sent one mailer. Think about it. I didn't have a lot of time, didn't have a lot of money. And the key point I want you to get here is start somewhere. If you can only start with 12 touches this year, have a plan to do 12 touches this year and move to 24 touches next year. So the 12 touches were really important at this time because I conditioned people to open our mail because I sent really fun things. So our car rides would be brainstorming ideas for what would fit into an envelope that was fun, that wouldn't cost extra postage. And so I sent things like lottery tickets and big red chewing gum and Kool-Aid packets and all sorts of fun things. And so I really had that creativity flowing throughout my touches, and it conditioned people to always open our mail and not throw it away. So in 2008, when Andy joined me in real estate, what did I get? Extra time, right? I got leverage. We didn't get more money though. You gave up a pretty big job.
Oh yeah. It took a while to kind of work our way back up there. We just had a little more manpower.
More time, not more money. So we immediately said, okay, there's something to this model, right? We know we have to get to 33 touches. Let's just get to 24. The best way to do that, guys, was through email because email is free. So we started doing a monthly email newsletter, which got us to 24 touches a year. So from 2008 until 2011, we were closing around 34, 33 units a year. But look at 2010. This is a kicker. What happened?
Well, our assistant team leader said, you guys need to go hire somebody. And
we had gone backwards. We'd hit that ceiling again, 34, 33 units. Did we listen?
We did. We typically listen to people that have more experience than us and have a little bit of gray hair. That does wonders.
Did you know that the best leaders are first great followers?
Mm.
It's true.
Yeah.
Y'all heard that, right? So who do you follow? Because that's really important.
So there's blood in the streets at this point, 2010, 2011, right? People are getting out of the business. It was pretty grim. And
Right.
here we are throwing out a missing persons alert looking for an assistant.
And I think that's really interesting because we had gone backwards to 33 units. We were still the number one team in our entire office. I mean, think about that. That's so odd, only doing 33 units. Yet it was a truly different time. It was tough. I mean, people were going and getting corporate jobs because real estate was completely drying up. And she said, go hire your first assistant. That's going to take you to the next level. So we did. We listened. And in 2011, we hired our first assistant and we doubled our business.
And then
Why?
Then we started doing 33 touches and
Why?
following the model.
We started following the model. So we started a 33 touch campaign for the first time ever. And hear this, we started lead generating for the first time. I was lead generating 2 hours a day. So that one hire doubled our business because we made a commitment to lead generation and a 33 touch program. And then the rest
of it was essentially creating a vision for the business and recognizing that in order to get what we want, we had to sell X amount of houses. In order to sell those amount of houses, we had to have more people. So it was identifying, what did the org chart look like, and then start hiring. So all the additional units that you see is that kind of pretty steady climb up through 2018. That was all as a result of getting into business with motivated and magnetic people.
The M&M rule.
These are people that have big databases. These are people that, were influential on Facebook. People followed them, right? People like them, right? That's an important part of what we do is that people.
Sorry.
That's all right. And people want to do business with these people. So that was really the secret sauce, and still is, that we're always looking for new people, and we always want to know what their database looks like.
I think there's something to point out. In 2019, I want you guys to look at this. We went backwards, and there's 2 reasons why we went backwards. Number one, we decreased the size of our team and we closed down our expansion. So we had expanded into other markets that were a lot lower price points than our Atlanta market. And we were spending a lot of money generating leads for those lower price point markets. And it just didn't make economic sense. So at the beginning of 2019, we closed our 3 expansion locations. And so we lost people, right? We lost databases. And we also did something else that year. We stopped lead generating. Andy alluded to the fact that we were on the road for 72 days in 2019, teaching in 36 cities across the US, and we stopped lead generating to our people. And so our business declined.
Yeah.
Our business went backwards. So there's good lessons in that, right? Gary always tells us that the most successful people have the most failures. And so it's hard to look at these numbers, yet we're failing forward and we're understanding what really is crucial. So for us, Zoom has actually been awesome because we still get to teach, yet we still get to be home and stay in touch with our people and lead generate.
Well, we also, from reading a lot of books around profit that Gary's been having us read, we are not chasing units quite as much as we were in the past. We know at 250 units at our current run rate, we can net $1 million. And quite frankly, that's after paying ourselves a salary, right? That's just the business itself earning $1 million in net profit. So nowadays, that's kind of where we are, is we want to have very profitable businesses, and we want the people inside of those businesses to have as much opportunity as possible and make as much money as possible.
And how we do that is really honing into our database, leaning on the 36 touch and staying in touch and lead generating to our people, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. Okay, Andy, what are the secrets of marketing? I think this is what they came for.
Yeah.
This and the 36 touch.
Yeah. I mean, marketing is something, marketing is always kind of a sexy topic, but when we think of developing a marketing plan, first of all, you got to have a great R&D mindset. And R&D stands for rip off and duplicate. You do not have to come up with all of the ideas, right? In fact, if you look at our 36 touch plan, which we're going to show you, most of it, if not all of it, probably came from someone else's idea that we took, adapted it, and made it our own. So that's the first rule is, this is kind of the spirit of Keller Williams, always being learning based, always, sharing ideas and plussing ideas, and then sharing them back with the group. So we always recommend having like some sort of a group,
A mastermind.
mastermind. Thank you. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. Having a group mastermind within the market center where you guys are sharing your plans, sharing, here's exactly what they look like, and that sort of thing, just to help each other. When we think about the 4 C's of marketing, these are, if we could boil everything down to these 4 concepts, this is what that would look like. First of all is consistency. If you think the 36 touch is a great idea and you set out to do this for a quarter and then you stop doing it, you might as well not start doing it. We estimate that the plan will probably take 12 to 18 months to start seeing the results that you've seen on previous slides. So that means you got to have a lot of stick-to-itiveness. You got to have some money saved, right? We'll talk about what it takes to do this. But a lot of us aren't consistent, right? I mean, we're not consistent beings, generally speaking. So if you're not a consistent person, you can buy consistency. You could buy a runner, right? You could have a college kid or even a high school kid that could work and do some of this plan for you in their free time. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to overthink this.
Well, I think this is where we fail as agents, and it's why we have such cyclical businesses, right? I mean, we come out of the gate in January, and what are we doing? We're lead generating and we're mailing and marketing to our database. And by March, we have tons of business. Yeah. Well, in March, we start serving all of our clients. And what's the first thing that we stop doing? Marketing and lead generating, because we're serving people.
Because we don't have time.
And then June comes, and what happens? We fall on our face because we don't have any more clients. So the cycle starts again. So how we really bulletproof consistency is having a plan and putting that together in November of the previous year and rolling out that 36 touch plan with every single thing. So we don't stop if we get busy. The plan keeps working.
Yeah, if you're trying to decide what you're going to do like quarter by quarter, you're going to be making some tough decisions. And anytime you're adding friction, it just is more chance that you're not going to get it done. So don't do that. Go ahead and plan. And we're talking about the end of June, right? And some of you are saying, oh, yeah, well, great, I'll do this in October, November, planning for 2022. No. Start July 1st. 2021 and run it through June 30th, 2022, right? Let's not let the seasonality get in our way. Let's just create the plan today and get into action on it. Creativity. So, this is creativity just simply means don't be the average agent, right? Do stuff different. I think, Lesley, you always tell the story about conditioning people to open your mail.
Yeah.
I think that would be appropriate here.
So I was 26 years old when I got into the business, and I think my first full year, I came home with 2 luxury listings. And Andy was like, Lesley, how old are these people that are hiring you? And on the second one, I said, they're our parents' age. And he's like, do they know that you don't have any experience? And I said, actually, they do. I said, I asked the question tonight. I said, you know what? Tell me about your previous experience with a real estate agent. And they both said, well, we had a great experience with our past agent. We used the same agent for the last 3 houses in Atlanta. Yet we want to use you because you are so creative in your marketing that we believe you can do a better job marketing our house.
Yeah, don't miss that, right? I mean, people, if you put out junk promoting yourself, that's what people perceive you're going to
market their house.
Yeah.
And so being creative is crucial. And I'll tell you, I know not all of us are creative, and especially not all of us are creative all the time. Creativity, though, is something that you can buy. There's two websites that I lean in a lot for creativity, and one of them is popbyideas.com. Let's see if I can put it in the chat. I don't think I can because of the
We can add it later.
We can add it later. So popbyideas.com is an awesome website that gives you creative ways each month to pop by your client's house and give them something fun. Well, when you have 100 clients, you can do that, right? When you have thousands of people in your Met database, that's a little more difficult to do. So I'll go to popbyideas.com every month, check out cute taglines, and then I'll go to the second site, Oriental Trading, and I'll really look for things that can cost, you can tell I'm a teacher, right? Oriental Trading. Orientaltrading.com. You can buy dozens of fun things that will fit in an envelope and cost no less than a quarter, right?
Yeah.
This month we're actually sending fireworks glasses that make your the fireworks sparkle at the 4th of July. And our tagline is, do we have any right here? Oh, we do. Our tagline is, your referrals make our business sparkle. They're a whole quarter, and Andy's actually opening ours that came in the mail yesterday. We'll show you. We've sent things like Zoom covers, the little covers for your camera. See, now you guys see us. Now you don't. Now you see us, right? We sent those. These are the fireworks glasses, though. Here, let's see. I'll put them on.
Yeah.
Very cool, right?
A whole quarter.
A whole quarter. And then here's a little tagline, your referrals make our business sparkle. And we're asking people to share with us, put on the fireworks glasses and share their 4th of July location where they're watching fireworks and tag the Peters Company. So it just makes it interactive and fun. Creativity, there are ways to really find creativity by marketing masterminds, by websites. Like there's a ton of places you can go.
Yep, make it fun and be memorable. Cohesiveness. So one of the cool things about Keller Williams, one of the many cool things, is that we have the largest real estate company in the world. And the thing that they care about the most is you as an agent and as a brand. And so they allow you to be in the forefront, right? And develop your brand. And then they come up behind you and support you at the highest level through technology, through tools, through training, right? All of that is at your disposal and ready for you to use. So the cool part about being cohesive is, you develop this brand. For us, it was a door knocker. The door knocker was always part of Lesley's logo before I came. And then whenever I came, we developed the Peters Company, and here's the door knocker again, right? When we first started into business and we were pretty young, we wanted to appear older and more experienced, right? So our look, our feel, our branding was more, just more older, mature, right?
Yeah.
It was like old ivy and, bronze and, brass. It was just
when brass wasn't cool.
When it wasn't cool. Now it's back, right? Now it's actually really cool. And we did that for years, and quite frankly, it worked. People saw us as an experienced option for real estate, but our website looked that way. Our marketing materials that we left in our listings looked that way. Our mailers looked that way. They used the same colors, the same fonts, the same logos. And about 5-6 years ago, we hired a kind of professional graphic designer as our director of marketing. And she came in and she kind of laid out all of our peripheral pieces. And she said, wow, you guys are doing really, really well, but what's up with this old brass and all this ivy and all this, like, you guys look so old, we got to modernize you. So that's what we did. And by the way, we kept the door knocker. So you started seeing door knocker being branded in a lot of things that we do. Our newsletter is called the door knocker. We have a newsletter for agents that we send out. It's called the Door Knocker for Agents. Whenever you send us a referral to Atlanta, we, in addition to a 25% referral, we also send you a pair of Peters Company socks that have door knockers all over them, because you knock our socks off when you send us referrals. We're on probably our 5th iteration of socks, and we have agents that continue to refer us business and say, I already have the black ones. Like, I'd really like to get the white ones or the gray ones. And that's just part of our brand. That's, again, back to being creative and and having fun, that's the way we can also be cohesive.
You know, it's so important that your brand really unites your mission too. There's a book that I love. I recently read. It's called For by Jeff Henderson, FOR by Jeff Henderson. And it really talks about how we have to communicate our mission to our database, to our people, because if we don't, then I mean,
There's a
they're not
million real estate,
connected to
and
us,
there's a
right?
million real estate agents.
Yeah. So our mission is to create massive opportunities for others through real estate. And what does a door open? Opportunity. So the door knocker knocks on opportunity. So we say all the time, opportunity knocks. And our database really sees, oh, there you go. There's your sticker.
Yep.
Our database,
Opportunity knocks.
when they see a door knocker, they definitely
And that's the door
think of
knocker,
us.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fourth and final C that we missed for years and years.
Yeah, so this is kind of a fail forward moment and doing marketing plans. We always felt like, hey, if we do something consistently and it's quite creative and cohesive, it's going to catch people's eye and they're just going to call us and they're going to do business with us. What we missed is we're not training people how to help us, right? And so we've got to activate people. We've got to activate the folks in our database. So call to action, we've all heard the most generic call to action, which is who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That is so boring. And I mean, that's everybody, right? Back to this idea of being creative, be different. Instead of that approach, try something like, who do you know that's currently renting that might be interested in purchasing their first home? Who do you know that maybe their kids have all graduated and left the house and they find themselves in an empty nest situation? Maybe they need to downsize. Who did I just describe? Or who do you know that might be interested in building wealth by investing in real estate? Right? All of these are just opportunities for you to activate and have your database help you. Now, a good tactic is always when you have one of these call to action that you would tag on to it like an event. So in a quarter, you may say, who do you know that wants to build wealth through real estate? And they tell you, and it's like, well, great news. We have a real estate investor seminar, that we're doing in August. And we're going ahead and doing some legwork. We want to make sure that we help as many people as possible. You're going to tag on to any of these call to actions to try and make them have legs and get additional touches out of them.
If you think about it, the who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate is just too broad. You're giving people so many options that they can't think of just one thing. So a call to action needs to be really clear and really concise. My favorite call to action that
more C's,
clear and concise. My favorite call to action that we use generally the first quarter of every year is everyone knows 7 people that will buy, sell, or invest in real estate this year. And while we would love for you to remember us for all 7, could you just remember us for 1? And so it really triggers referrals. In fact, one thing that we also do with referrals is we ask for referrals in this one. Your referrals make our business sparkle. And on the back, we actually said, how do I send you a referral? What if they're not quite ready to buy or sell? And then why should I refer the Peters Company? So go really deep on one ask, which is referrals.
Yeah, and just teaching people, activating people is the best way to put it.
Awesome. So let's go with what you guys came for. What does our 36 touch program actually look like? So we're going to break this down. I talked about this earlier. I started with mailers, 12 mailers a year. We still do that. And we think of these on a monthly basis and part of a quarterly plan. So every quarter, we're going to send an item of value, something that costs a little bit more, something that continues to have them opening our mail. So the fireworks glasses, the opportunity knock stickers, the Zoom covers, you want to think of things that outlast just the piece of mail. So
that phone pocket that's there on your screen.
Yes,
an example of that.
The phone wallet is an awesome one because they see that all the time, right? So what could you send that outlasts the piece of mail? We've sent jar grippers, which stay in people's drawers, right? We've sent eyeglass cloths for people's for purses. So you can clean your glasses, and we have a door knocker on those. So what item of value could you send every single quarter? The second piece of our mail campaign every quarter is an event invitation. Stop the evites, right? We want an actual invitation. Remember when you were a little kid and you got invited to birthday parties and they actually sent like invitations that you put on your refrigerator? That's exactly what we want to create. So we want to send really cute invitations cute that live on their corkboard that they see for an entire month before the event. So these I used to spend so much time creating these invitations. You don't have to do that. You can go to Etsy and you can have designers on Etsy actually create an invitation for you for an event. They can turn it into postcard size. And I mean, Andy, we're looking at like $25 for them to create the event invitation. So you don't have to have a master graphic designer in-house. You can rely on it.
Yeah, if you struggle with cute, like if there's some of you that are like, I don't know that I can do cute. Well, you can hire.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of invitations. So type in what you want and you can find that online. The third mailer piece every quarter is a market update. Gary tells us to be the economist of choice for our database. Our people are only getting national market news, right? We need to provide the local market news. What's happening in your neighborhood? What's happening in your local market? And they don't want to hear boring statistics. They actually want to hear stories. That's how we sell, right? Is through stories, and that's people buy stories. So every quarter we're sending one postcard with some sort of market update of what's happening in the current market. And you know what I'm thinking is we've probably got a lot of individual agents on this call, and you may be overwhelmed and you're like, oh my God, 12 mailers, 12 email newsletters, 12 touches around the events and a personal touch. I cannot do this.
You got to breathe.
And remember, in the beginning, we said start small. You're not going to do this overnight, right? Start small and continue to add on. So think about that market update that you're creating and putting in a postcard. That same market update can be used on social media, in your email newsletter. I mean, these pieces don't have to be recreated every single time. You can use them in multiple avenues. So let's talk about the 12 email newsletters really quick. We actually use MailChimp, which is free up to, I think now 2,000 people. We send about 4,000 email newsletters every single month. And I think we pay like $89. So it's really reasonable. And we got some singing for a minute, I think. I think somebody sang for us.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
So MailChimp, 12 email newsletters a year, 12 email newsletters. See, I got all off topic.
Yeah, it's in a year.
It's in a year, 12 email newsletters, one per month. They go out the last day of the month. And think about what you could share. Could you share a 1-minute video of you talking about the local market?
Or just do a blog post. I mean, blogs are kind of dead, I think, but
video better.
Video blogs are much more effective.
And take 5 minutes to record, right? You just want a short snippet. Could you put all your active, pending, and sold listings in your email newsletter and have clicks to your website? Absolutely. So don't overthink it. You can actually see one of our email newsletters if you look on our Facebook page at the Peters Company. It should have posted yesterday because we send them either the last day of the month or the day before the last day of the month every single month. And then events have really become the backbone of our business. So we have 4 events a year that we call legacy events. This did not start with 4. This started with 1 a year.
It was a happy hour. I think we had it
at our house.
Well, first started at our house, and then we started doing something at the local taqueria where it was margaritas and tacos. You know, just something cheap, something outside. You know, just get people together.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Let it grow into 4 events a year. So I'll quickly go through our 4 events a year. Our budget this year was $44,000 for our 4 events. And guess how much of that we spent? 0, because we have vendor sponsors for all of our events. So what do our events look like? The first event of every year is our Easter egg hunt. So we have about 1,500 eggs, an Easter bunny, a bubble show for kids, Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits on a Saturday morning. We have a photographer that takes families family photos. And that event is at a historic home. It used to be at our house and we outgrew it. So we have about 250 people at that event. It's a really reasonable and fun event and quick event.
Family event.
It's a family event. I also want you to think about when you're planning events is not every person in our database is 40 years old with 2.5 children, right? So we want to diversify our events and make different types of events so we appeal to different types of people. Our second event is our Kentucky Derby party every single May. And we actually broadcast the Kentucky Derby from our house. That's one of our smaller events. We have around 100 people. It's
Adults only.
adults only, best hat, best dressed, and we raise about $2,000 for charity, one of our favorite charities at that event. And we give away a weekend at our condo in Hilton Head every year to the winner of the Derby. So that's really fun. And that really is more adults. And we think of either younger adults or baby boomers, because what we find is a lot of people our age don't want to get a babysitter to come to that event. So we're really talking about diversification. The next event that we do every year is a pumpkin patch. We used to do that in our front yard. We had 100 pumpkins, a bouncy house, cotton candy, popcorn, and we quickly outgrew that. And so now we actually invite people to a pumpkin patch about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta. We pay for their admission and a pumpkin. We have a tent set up at the front, and we talk to them when they check in. So that's always a really fun and easy event that people look forward to.
A lot of photo ops there.
A lot of photo ops.
That's a key. That's a key to these events, is making sure you have a professional photographer that is taking these photos, and then you get to follow up and deliver those photos. It's a tremendous touch. And then of course you start seeing those photos hit social media, and those are people's profile pictures and the whole nine. So
that's really awesome. And then our last event of the year is actually a drive-in movie. We just switched this. We do a drive-in movie around Christmas time. This past year, we showed The Grinch, and it was amazing because we had everybody wear their pajamas. We got to go around to cars and talk to our clients while the movie was playing. So it was a really, really fun event, and we'll continue to do that year after year. So those are our 4 legacy events. And I love those events because you get belly to belly, toe to toe time with your people, which is so important to build the relationship. I mean, events truly, Andy, are our favorite, and we really get a lot of touches around the events because they get the event invitation, there's the actual event, we're emailing an invitation as well as a mailed invitation, and we're actually calling people and inviting them to an event.
yeah, I mean, so many times you see agents that don't lead generate. The number one reason why they don't lead generate is because they don't know what to say, right? Or they don't feel like what they have to say has enough value to pick up the 400-pound phone. So if you've ever been worried about somebody being offended for you calling them, I can assure you nobody has ever been offended by being invited to a party. Right? That call is very simple. Hey, I was thinking about you. We're having this great family event, and I'd love for you to join us. It's completely free to you. Can I go ahead and RSVP you? That's it. That's it.
And it's awesome because you're providing value, right?
Yes.
It's a reason to pick up the phone, and people they aren't offended. They're actually so happy that you thought of them.
Let me talk about the events real quick, about how we get this paid for.
Yes.
So this was an aha we had a couple of years ago, because we would plan it out, but we wouldn't always get the commitments for the sponsors. So once we started planning out the marketing plan, we knew, because they're legacy events, we do them every year. We knew what they cost. We knew about how many people they could expect, and we knew what day they were going to be. So in the fourth quarter, once we had the plan, we would roll out that plan to every sponsor or every vendor that we use, and allow them to sponsor. And we accept full or half sponsorships. We don't do anything less than half, but they already know what the budget for those events are. They can go ahead. They're making their budgets, right, for the next year at that point, so they can plan for it. We typically will book up all commitments from our sponsors within a week of rolling out that plan. We don't have to bother or bug anybody to sponsor stuff. People typically are fighting over different parties and different events, which is great.
They're really fun.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is just staying in touch with your database. So I can tell the agents on our team that lead generate because they bring in the most people from their database. And I can tell the ones that don't. And when I say lead generate, I really mean just staying in relationship with people. So I'll give you a quick idea of how I lead generate every single day. I pull up Command and I pull up Facebook right next to it. And I actually touch 11 people every day, 55 a week. And right now I'm on the letter R. In fact, today I'm starting with Ryan. I'm touching all the Ryans today. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking up and I'm seeing what's going on in their life in Facebook or Instagram. And when I contact them, I'm actually just checking on them. If they've had a baby, then I'm going to send a baby gift. If they've gotten married, we're going to send a wedding gift. If someone in their family's passed away, we're going to send a memorial. If their dog dies, we're going to send a memorial to the Atlanta Humane Society. We are really staying in touch with people. Quick story about that. So several years ago, we were eating dinner at some of our clients' houses. This was 2015, actually, Andy. And the client has this beautiful British accent. And she said, so Lesley, she said, how's your business? And I said, oh, Wills, the business is wonderful. I said, we are the number 2 team in all of Georgia. And she said, oh, that is great, but you'll never be number 1. And I looked at Wills and I was like, why will we never be number 1? And she said, because you care about people too much. And that's what leads us to kind of the next slide. And it's the bottom, so we'll skip down to there. But this business, guys, is about serving people. Gary said something years ago. He said, stop marketing and start serving. That very next year, we became the number 1 team for the state of Georgia. And to this day, my tagline is, we're number 1 because we treat every single one like our only one. And that's what this business is about, is get into a relationship with people, call them, invite them to events. I mean, really, I never pick up the phone and think, oh my goodness, I hope they have a referral for me today. Or, oh my goodness, I hope they're going to sell their house.
No.
My job is just to stay in touch with people and provide value. And if I do that, then Katie bar the door, right? Like,
and trust that it's going to work.
You have to trust and you have to be consistent, but it's just about caring about people. So Andy, there's this really great book.
Yeah. So the first book that you see there, .com Secrets, this is a book that Gary had us read. And I'm an honest, straightforward person. This is a terrible book. Like
if you don't understand sales funnels.
Well, yeah, it's
about internet marketing.
It's about building lists, which is essentially a database, and it's about taking that online and making offers, right, and doing click funnels, sales funnels. And there's a lot of people that love that and do it quite well. To me, it didn't resonate with me. There was one concept from this book that it was well worth the read, and it's this idea of an attractive character. You know, I don't know if you are country music fans. We're from Georgia, so it's like a prerequisite. We have to like country music.
They're from up north.
I know. But there's country music fans in Illinois. We got that. We know that.
Are we Illinois today?
Yeah.
Ah.
Right? Yeah.
No. Guys. We're not. Roseville.
Yeah, Roseville.
Yes. Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Wow, I was thinking.
I was like,
Roseville,
Andy,
Illinois.
this is not Illinois.
I knew it was Roseville, but I didn't know.
Is Minnesota next to Illinois?
But there's country music fans in Minnesota. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the point.
We do like country.
Yeah, absolutely.
That box is filling up that they love country too.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so you get it.
Yeah, Brad Paisley says, I'm so much cooler online, right? You've all heard that song, and you get to choose what your attractive character is for your business. You get to choose what that is online. You get to choose that. And so there's all these different categories within this book about what an attractive character is. You could be a leader, adventurer, reporter, a reluctant hero. All of these things are in your power. And I think sometimes we struggle to find our voice online
or in our marketing.
And, you know, the best way for us to figure this out is to look at our social media and look at who's liking it, right? Who's giving you an impression, the likes, the loves, all of that stuff matters because it shows you what people expect from you, what kind of content they expect from you.
I think it's the the whole attractive character concept is a little odd, right? Yet you can find this really easily because you can go look at the past 10 posts you've made on social media, and the ones that have gotten the most impressions and the most comments are the ones that resonate with people. So be more like that because that's how people see you. I'm known to kind of watch my social media posts in the first 5 minutes because I want to make sure that I'm getting impressions, because if I'm not, you know what? I didn't hit my attractive character, and I'll pull down or delete that post. And why is that important? Is because that's how we get business, right? Facebook, Instagram, those are databases just like your CRM, like they're databases. And the more impressions you get, people are going to see your profile over and over again. And that's what we want.
Yeah, be you, but don't be controversial and don't be negative, right? Those are the two rules. I think if you look at our attractive character, we don't take ourselves real seriously. I mean, I think we tend to be approachable, right? We want people to approach us. I think we also we try to be quite inspirational, right? We share things that make people feel good, stories, quotes, whatever. All that, we want to make people feel good.
Yeah.
So the second book that's there, which is also a powerful book that is great towards helping you kind of mold your mission and figure out this idea of the big why, right? That we read about in MREA. And that's Start With Why by Simon Sinek, who he goes on and says, people don't care what you do, they only care why you do it. And so how are you communicating that why to the people in the database?
And that really goes back to our mission, right? I would love to add the book 4 by Jeff Henderson on this list because it's another one that really digs deep into your marketing plan and how you're marketing yourself and connecting with the consumer. This quote is one of my favorites. Millions are made in the mundane. Because what we see coming out of this class is that so many people are like, oh my gosh, you lead generate every single day. You touch your database 36 times a year. Like, this is a lot of stuff, right? And yes, it is. Yet millions are made in the mundane. So we just have to stick to it, right? It has to become a habit. And a habit is when you do something so long that it feels weird not to do it. And so for me, if I don't lead generate every day, or if I'm not reaching out to people on social media every day, then it feels weird, right? So we've got to make a commitment and just know that millions are made in the mundane. And then back to my favorite quote: stop marketing and start serving. Guys, we got that class finished so fast today, and I don't even know how we did that in an hour.
Yeah, we did it.
We normally talk way too much.
Well, it gives us plenty of time.
It does. So I'll share a few things with you guys. So you can keep in touch with us a few different ways. If we have a monthly marketing email newsletter for agents, and how you sign up for that, we basically walk you through what we're doing. So if we're planning an event for the fall, we're going to share all of our tips with you. If we just sent out a really cool mailer, we're going to share that with you. You can get that monthly marketing newsletter for agents by signing up at thepeterscompany.com/connect. Just a heads up, don't sign up on the first page of our website because that is the newsletter for clients. So if you want
this is a private link.
This is a private link just for agents. So check us out there. The Facebook 36 Touch Marketing Group, we have a private mastermind group. It's called the Peters Co 36 Touch Mastermind. We have agents all across the country sharing in that group. So we would love for you to be a part of it. And then obviously we would love to earn your referrals. And you can always email us for any questions. We care at thepeterscompany.com.
You get your socks.
And you get your socks.
Hey, you get your socks.
So we would love to hear from you guys. So let's open this up to questions, if that's cool with you all. Let's see if I can
stop share.
Well, let's see if we can look in the chat box. I'll leave this up just in case you have anything. Okay, it says best practices for turning an unmet into a met.
Oh yeah. So you think about the best, great question, by the way.
Ryan, I love it.
Yeah.
Ryan is my lead gen list today.
Yeah. So if you think about the best geographical farmers, right? The people who are marketing to an area, maybe their neighborhood, maybe another neighborhood, the thing that makes them successful is that they take an unmet database and they make it a met database. Now, what does that look like? They start list managing the people in that unmet database, and they really start treating it like a fill in the blank game. Now, what I mean by that is they know what football team they pull for, right? They know where they go on vacation. They know if they're a red wine or a white wine or a bourbon drinker. They know, everything that's important to those people that comes by way of building relationships and getting to know them better. And they start serving those people individually, right? They start giving them attention, not as a group, but as an individual. And I think that is the secret to great geographical farms. They know every single house in that farm. They know the history behind it. Who are the families that live there? They know everything that's important to that family as well.
And one of my favorite geographic farmers in our area is really awesome at getting to know people that even move in. When people move into the neighborhood, they take them a welcome basket or a welcome meal. The first day and last day of school, they're standing at the entrance to the neighborhood giving out Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits. So just think about how you can, especially it's easier with a geographical farm than it is with actual internet leads, right? Internet leads are a little more difficult because you can't really turn them into a met until you actually schedule an appointment and meet them.
The best way too, I think, to get some of these unmets turned into mets is invite some of them to your events that you're already doing for your mets. I mean, we've had scenarios at events where people showed up that we didn't remember necessarily inviting, and we didn't recognize them because we didn't know them. We didn't have a relationship with them. And we would go back and look at the pictures and be like, who is that? Is somebody crashing our event? And we actually trace it back and we figure out exactly who that was, or somebody had a conversation on the team, and then we bring them into the Met database. Surely an unmet that's willing to come to our event is worthy enough now to be marketed to like a Met.
Ryan, this also has me thinking of another kind of secret that I know it's not really a secret, but something I use quite frequently to add people to the database is every year our kids have new soccer teams and new classes, right? And there's new people that we can meet and add to the database. And I typically do that by inviting them to an event. So reaching out and saying, hey, I'm so glad your child's in Veda's class this year. We would love for y'all to come to our pumpkin patch. What's your email address? Or what's your mailing address? I'd love to send that to you. And talk about easy ways to add people to the database is just invite them to an event. And that I'm always adding to the database at those 4 key times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what other questions do you guys have? You can even take yourself off mute if that's easier.
I'm glad we've got country music fans.
Me too.
Minnesota. That's good. That's important.
And I'm so glad I'm not crazy and I knew that this was Minnesota and not Illinois.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. That's terrible.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. That's awesome. We've enjoyed being here with you guys.
What kind of ahas are you having? What will you go change?
Yeah, give us some ahas. What will you do differently?
I know this is not a quiet group.
If you're more comfortable typing it in the chat, that's okay too. Some people are more comfortable with that.
Awesome.
Everyone is muted. So if you want to share an aha or have a question, just make sure to unmute yourself.
We could always share a little bit about, how do you pay for stuff like this? How does all that happen and where does it come from?
Yeah.
Right.
We can definitely do that.
Because I think a lot of times people get lost in, I can't pay to do all this. And I'm going to give you a statistic that it will blow your mind. For every dollar we spend on a 36 touch program, $14 come back. So there's a 14-to-1 return on investment with this program. So if you happen to be looking at the 36 touch and you said, oh my God, like I don't have all the money for this, I can't do this. You give me $1, I give you 14 back. How many times do you want to do that?
A lot.
Right. And part of that is we have to run our business like a business. And so I see a lot of agents that have one account, right? They have one checking account, and they pay for their life, fund their life out of that account, as well as fund their business. I'm going to discourage you from doing that. I would really encourage you as early as you possibly can to open up a business account. And it might be your first deal. Put $200 into that business account. Put $100. Put $50, whatever you can afford to do. Just start the process of setting aside money, because when you commingle funds, unfortunately, you're going to come to a point where you're going to have to make a decision. Do I send a mailer, or do I like take my family on vacation? Right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I know what would win 9 out of 10 times if I was faced with that decision, right? I'm going on vacation. Except the thing that we have to remember is that the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. So if we don't fund that business, we can't fund our life. So it doesn't work the other way. So we've got to make sure that we're being disciplined enough to put money aside, first for taxes, then for our operating account for our business, then for our savings account for our business. And the savings account is what we use to go out and hire people, right? And we would like to have 6 months of their salary saved before we go hire them. Well, those 3 accounts are capitalized before we even hit our personal account. Before we get to our personal checking, before we get to our personal savings, we got to take care of the business.
I think it's so important, and we see this so often because Andy and I coach agents. We were MAPS coaches actually for years. We're not anymore. And one of the first things when I'm coaching an agent is I ask for their profit and loss, and immediately I can see that very few agents reinvest into their business. We get so addicted to the job money in this business that we have $1 million closing, and what do? We go upgrade our car. Well, instead of that, right, why don't we reinvest in our business? Because if we do that, I mean, you guys, 10 years from now, you can have any car you want if you just reinvest in your business. There's one number that I want you to remember. MREA says that we should spend 9% on lead generation every single year, 9% of your gross commission income. I look at profit and losses for agents, and I see that most agents spend less than 2% a year on lead generation costs. So what would it look like, and how would your business change if you did spend 5%? Would it allow you to hire that assistant that you've always wanted?
Not 9, just 5.
Just 5.
Just
like,
get to
let's
5.
just get to 5%. How can you spend that much money? Because your business will grow tremendously if you reinvest. So I hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah. The hardest part, I think, when you run a 36 touch, especially when you have a 14-to-1 return on investment, it almost becomes hard to get to 9%.
Mm-hmm.
And there are instances where you see megas across the country that are spending, 20, 25% of their income on lead generation, which when the music stops, right, that's going to be painful for them. But this just helps you build. It might not be explosive, right? You may not double your business every year, but you should be hitting 10 to 20% growth consistently as you follow a 36 touch plan.
Absolutely.
Slow and steady wins the race. And the way you go bigger with it is you hire more motivated and magnetic people and build through database.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I love you guys sharing on chat. Thank you. Great ideas. Okay. Anybody else?
Speechless.
Well, we appreciate you guys being with us today. And if we can help you in any way, our email address is right there. So we hope to see you guys in person soon. I can't wait for Keller Williams events to be back.
No doubt about that.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for everything you shared.
Thank you
It's
guys.
our
Y'all have an
pleasure.
awesome day. We'll see you guys hopefully soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye guys.
Bye.